Oh, hey guys. Today we're going to do an LCD screen replacement for an HP model 15-FC0040CA. And the best way for you guys to follow my instructions, just follow the cursor, and that's probably the best way to do it. And as you can see here, this is what my customer's broken screen looked like, before his kid had the accident with it. And to start off this installation here, for the beginning process of removing if you look at it here, the black front plastic bezel that surrounds the frame, all you need is just your fingernails. It's perfectly fine. So as you can see here, this is the top left hand corner. That's where we're starting off, and you don't have to start off from the top left. You can do it at the top right. But either way, I kind of just go from left to right, so that's just the way I do it. So if you can look at it here, I literally just stuck my fingernail in, and you can easily just pop it in and pry open those areas there. And you just run your thumbnail from the top left hand corner to the top right hand side. And as you can see here, I'm just sliding it over, and it just opens very easy. And I'll explain the other step that you got to do afterwards. So just remember that. Just run it from the top left hand corner to the top right. Very simple. And this is the top right hand corner here. So when you arrive here to the corner on the top right, continuously use your thumbnail and actually run it down on the right side of the plastic bezel, going down to the bottom right. So just keep going down and do the same things. Once you complete doing that on the top right to the bottom right, do the same thing as from the top left to the bottom left on the other side, on the opposite side. And once you've done that, this is the other step I want you to do. Because if you follow this cursor, because this is really important, because you've already created a gap so that you can put your fingernail from the underneath side, because all of these plastic bezels here, they're actually glued. The other half, 50% of this here, if you see all of this and every single corner, it's actually glued. It's got like a double-sided tape, that's actually sticking on your screen. So the easiest way to do it is to put your index, or one or two of your fingers, your index on your secondary finger underneath, and curl it towards you. If you Once you do that, just slip it underneath. You can easily just pop it out towards you very gently. Don't be, like hard on it, because the last thing you want to do is end up snapping this plastic bezel. It is very weak. So you don't want to go hard on it. Just literally just put one or two fingers underneath here. Or if you have a spudging tool or a prying tool or a plastic wheel, you can just run it up and down. But you really don't need that for now. So if you just use your fingers, just pop it slowly, and it'll just come off really easily until you get down to the bottom right here. And do the same thing on the left side, and also underneath here. So from underneath here, just run your fingernails underneath and just slowly pop it up, just curling your fingers towards you, and then it'll just easily pull it out. And then once you've done that, and here, if you look at it here, I'm continuing on with my fingers again on the bottom left, going to the bottom right. This here, you want to be a little bit harder, because for you to release the tabs at the bottom end are very stiff. So for you to remove the fasteners that's actually sticking to your rear screen bezel, you have to give it some force. So put in at least two or three, two of your fingers, and literally just pull it towards you, pull it out until you hear some like popping sounds. Because if you're hearing like a snapping sound, then you know that you've actually released the fasteners that's actually holding it in there. Because if you're not hearing any noise, then that means you didn't do it hard enough, or you didn't pull it hard enough. So remember, don't be worried about it. Just pull it towards you. You won't break that plastic piece here if you're running it from the bottom left to the bottom right, because there's a much thicker piece. It's about an inch and a quarter or to an inch and 3/8. So you can just pull it towards you, and then once you hear the little popping sounds, and you release the tabs. And it's really important that you do that. So once you finish doing that, this is the other thing that's really crucial, because I see a lot of other tutorials where it's showing you how to remove or separate this plastic piece here that connects to this. I found a better way. You don't need to do that, because it's better for you to keep this attached to this whole rectangular plastic bezel as one piece, and I'll show how to do that. So remember, so once you finish pulling all of the tabs off of these of the bottom piece here, from bottom left to bottom right, close up the laptop completely and place your screen down like this. Because what you want to do is, once you release these tabs here, as you can see, you can just start off from the bottom, from the left side or the right side, either way. just your whole goal is to just get a gap open like this so that you can see all of the tabs. And as you run it from the left to the right side or from right to left, you're going to hear a popping sound also, because these tabs will release itself. And once it's released, it should look exactly like this. Here's another picture here, just a closer shot. But you see the tabs here, they've released itself. You don't want to be using a large prying tool or a thick plastic tool, because I've actually had customers that actually came to me trying to get us to fix it, which we have to. We can for them, but they're paying a lot of money to do this, is because we actually have to put in new tabs in there, refabricate for it to lock back in there. Because once you break them, it's really you really, certain areas are not going to stick. So that's why I'm saying use your fingernail, because you're not going to break it. And as you can see here, it's perfectly fine for me. So once you separate that, that's completely good. And then flip your laptop again and open it up like the way you would normally do it. And this is the other crucial area here that you have to be very careful. So grab yourself a paring knife or a very, very small flat micro screwdriver, and just get it inside this hole here. The only purpose of you using a paring knife or something with a tip or a fine tip that can get in this little section here is to literally just start it to lift it so that you can get your prying tool here. Because here's where you need a prying tool. Don't use a knife or anything sharp. What you want to do is just use a pick of some sort, just to put it, just score it with your paring knife to lift it up, and then just put like a plastic wedge tool underneath here so that you can run it from the right side to the left side, just like this here. If you look at my pick here, it's just got a little lip that's literally a 1.5 to 2 millimeter lip, which I know won't go deep and damage anything. So literally just run it from the right side and go to the left side. And once you've gotten to the other end there, it would be very easy. And and then all you have to do is just make sure that you release all of the corners here and stuff, and then all you do is just wiggle out your whole bezel, and this whole piece will stay attached to this plastic rectangular bezel, and it'll stay together, and then you don't have to worry about trying to reattach it or just go through a nightmare trying to get it all attached together. And the next thing I forgot to make note, before that gets removed. And if you look at it here, okay, I'm just trying to show you here. So imagine that this is pulled out. There's actually a lining, a plastic silver lining that's actually attached itself to this piece here. So this is where you want to use a sharp knife or a precision knife or whatever. Don't need to go deep. All you need to do is cut that little silver sheet, which looks exactly like this. This is what happens when you cut it. So don't go too low, because you don't want to be cutting your LCD cable or anything like that, right? So just cut the lining that's actually behind this plastic part here, because if you don't cut that apart, you won't be able to release this whole piece that's connecting with this together. So remember, right? So as you can see here, I kind of put a knife in a different angle here. Let me rotate this here for you guys. I'm going to rotate it right. Okay, so that's better here. So this is the bottom left hand corner. So what I do is I just ran my knife and I just cut the lining from left to right. And this is what it looks like when it's completely cut here. So as you can see here, because this part here was actually attached to a part of that the screen bezel. And if you don't cut that, you won't be able to remove the screen bezel because it's actually stuck to that. So once you have that, this is exactly how it looks like here. It's easy to remove. You just wiggle out the whole assembly. And as you can see here, it's in 100% and it'll easily go back on 100%. So you don't have to worry about that. So the next step here is, if you look carefully, you see where my cursor is? There's a black double-sided tape there, a rubber tape, and then there's one on the right-hand side. And that's really almost how it looks like in real life, because this laptop is a little bit smaller in the picture. But the whole thing is, you're going to need some type of pick tool just like this or something, or grab a needle if you don't have a pick tool. You got to have something that's very small that can grip that piece of crap double tape that they're using, because it's so small and such a tight corner. You can't just stick your fingernail in there and just grab it. You need something that's literally like a needle sized tip or something like what I have here to pick it out. And this is a zoomed in picture here. As you can see here, I even tried using my paring knife. It couldn't even grip it. So I actually had to use a pick tool. So if you don't have a pick tool that's got like a fine needle nose tip, go grab yourself, use a needle or something to that extent, a toothpick or something. That would probably work too, so that you can actually get this pulled out and then you can start running it out like this. And as you can see here, if you want to reuse it, which you can perfectly can, because I reuse it all of the time, just use both of your hands, your left hand holding the tip of the double-sided tape, and then your right hand feeding out this rubber tape, every 1 to 2 inches, and go slowly. You don't need to rush in this, because if you rush and the thing springs out and gets connected with the rest of the tape, it will just coil up and just muck everything up. So just take your time. This is one of those things where you got to take your time and just pull it out inch by inch. It'll take you about close to a minute to do it, but with that extra minute that you spent, it'll allow you to use that same, double-sided rubber tape, so that you can adhere it back to the new screen and reuse it. Because that's the one thing that you'll also need, right? Because if you don't have any fresh double-sided tape, I do have double-sided tape, but I love using this because it works better than double-sided tape because it's thicker, and it just sticks really, really well. So, and then once you remove that, just make sure that you leave it stretched, so that, and then just attach it to like somewhere on your table. Stretch, don't let it just spring around. Just make sure it's stretched and push down onto the table for you to reuse it. And going back to, and then after you've done that, you can easily just lay down your screen. And these are the very crucial, important parts of the disassembly process, because this is where I don't want you guys to mess up. So this is where we're gonna be working on next here at the top left hand corner here. So underneath that tape there, it's just additional tape they use to actually kind of hold the 30 pin cable here, so that it doesn't pop. You know what I mean? But it shouldn't pop anyway, because there's a locking arm with it. So after you peel it, what I did was I kind of just took my same pick tool here, and then I literally just peeled it up. Then once you peeled it, this is this is what it should look like here. So if you look at it here carefully, you'll see that there's a locking mechanism, a locking arm for you to release the 30 pin cable. Because all you have to do is just put your thumbnail underneath it, or your fingernail, and just pop it upwards toward away from here. Just pull it, pull the tab up towards this tape here, and once you've done that, this is what it should look like unlocked. And then what you want to do right afterwards is you want to grab both of your hands carefully, left side and right side, and just in one single motion, pull gently, or push gently, not pull, sorry, push gently with this locking arm. Make sure that you have a nice, good hold on it with your left and right arm, with your left and right hand, and just push it away towards the tape in a smooth motion, so that it just comes off in a single sequence. And once you've done that, this is what it should look like. It should just come apart, and that's all you need to do. And just leave it there and go grab your brand new screen, and then this is what we're gonna do here. So this is the new screen here that's being placed, and these are the little, well, not little, these are very important things that I want to make note for you guys if you guys have never done this before, is because if you wiggle this, don't even attempt to do this yet. I need you guys to listen to me, because about what, maybe 14 years ago, when I was starting to, when some laptops needed, the the batteries to be disconnected. A lot of systems now, you don't need to disconnect the batteries. I've always done a lot of screen installations without removing the battery. But if you guys don't want to short anything out, you can remove the battery. You will have to look at other tutorials to learn how to do that, but you really don't need to do that. It's just being careful in how you plug everything in. So this is where it's very crucial. So as you can see here, make sure that you place your screen exactly where the old one was, so that you have enough flex for the LCD, for the 30 pin cable, to reach its point here on the left and the right side. And again, you're going to go into one motion. Make sure you have it seated properly, because the last thing you want to do is bring the 30 pin teeth here and start wiggling it, and then having it touch this area here over and over and over again, because I can guarantee you guys, you will short your connector and probably muck up your board. So please don't do that, and just put it in one motion. That's all you got to do. Just place this cable with both of your hands. Make sure that the screen is close enough to the cable so that it will seat itself all the way in, and just slide with your left and right hand, holding this corner here with your left hand, and the right hand holding the right hand side, and just in one motion, just slide the 30 pin teeth back into the slot where it belongs, and then push the locking arm back in, as you can see here. And then once you've done that, put put the tape right over it. I would suggest probably even adding more tape. Even 2 layers of masking tape would be perfectly fine too. You know, if you have clear tape, Gorilla clear tape, or whatever, is perfectly fine. This tape, an additional 2 layers of masking tape, it should be perfectly fine. As you can see here, I use masking tape here with this. I put one here and then another layer there, and you don't need much because the original tape alone will hold it pretty good. Because nothing, it's not going to be moving. The cables won't come out, right? So don't worry about that. And then once you've done that, you might want to do is just flash up your laptop, and then and see if you have power. And the thing is, when remember the rubber that I was mentioning, that rubber piece that you had removed, the double sided rubber tape. This is when you want to put it back in here. As you can see here, it's kind of hard to see. My apologies, but this is the black strip I put back on. Make sure that you leave a little bit of tab for the next time if you break it again, so that you can pull and release it again. And I did the same thing here on the right side with a little tab that you can pull and release if you have to replace it again. And then this is what it looks like here. I just put a little closer shot here. And then once you've done that, this is the other thing I want to make note. So when you're placing the screen back down, make sure that the screen side of your laptop is facing the table, and then the keyboard part is 90 degrees angles up. So this is what you want to do is you want to make sure that the screen is tucked into the corners, flush in the top left and the top right. You don't want to start at the bottom left and bottom right. You want to start at the top left and the top right. And then once you know you have it down, just gently place the screen back into position, because once you place it down there, it's going to stick like shit. Excuse my French, but that's what's going to happen. So make sure that you have it 100% leveled from left to right and flush at the top left and the top right hand corner, and then release the screen carefully, you know, and then you should be good to go. And then if another suggestion is what you can do also is that what you can do is that if you have like a sponge or a cloth or something, what you can do is once you've actually put in the bezel back in there, you all you have to do is use your thumb to squeeze all of the corners. Always start at the top right or top left hand corner, and tighten all of the top area. Then you can go to the side right, and then the left hand side, because the bottom part here is where you want to do last, because once you get to this section here, this is when you want to do this. You want to basically put your finger behind the piece, or you could put one hand behind it, and then you can use your other hand and just and then roughly, or you could actually just push it in really tight so that you can hear the snapping again. And as you can see here, it's pretty simple. So just make sure you apply a little bit of force. You're not going to break the screen because the screen's not down that low. But if you squeeze these areas here, one hand in the back of the screen, bracing it, and then your right hand just pushing in with your thumb from left to right, you should be able to just snap it all in there without any issue. And then once you've done that, this is where I wanted to show you guys here. Put your laptop in this position here, standing up like this, because what you want to do is here with a closer shot, you want to be able to snap in this corner here, as you can see here. This corner here, you see there's one in each corner. What you want to do is go back in and put your fingernail on top of this and snap it back into place. And when you hear a little snap, that means you've actually put that plastic bezel back into its position. And this is a different angle here, a closer shot on the right side, because this was the left here. One on the right side, you just put your thumbnail underneath and just put it underneath here and just snap it in there, and you'll hear a little snapping sound. That means you've actually locked all of the fasteners back in with the plastic bezel. And the last thing all you have to do is you just got to basically close the laptop and just put the screen side down, and then all you got to do is, you remember when we actually created that gap. Now what you do is you're just pinching it with your hand, and I'm just using this for an illustration, right? So the easiest way for you to do this is to use your left hand by holding it exactly as you see my hand here, then using your right hand with your thumb and your index finger, and then just squeezing your index here, your thumb there, and then just squeezing from left to right, and it'll just close up just like that. And I'll show you here. You see, once you start closing, squeezing it up, it'll start closing. So it's pretty simple. And once you've done that, you're completely done. And this is exactly how it looks like when it's done, just like new. And then I always put back the protective film for my clients, because I don't want to get any fingerprints on it and stuff like that, so that they know it's brand new. And that was a pretty long tutorial, but at least I wanted you guys to do it right, because if you follow the instructions carefully and do it, you shouldn't have any issues just completing it from beginning till end. And the awesome thing is with what I'm doing here, you can easily go back and reference every single picture because they're large pictures and they're zoomed in, and you can see everything of what I'm doing. And if you missed out on something, you can easily refer back and just backspace on the video and just go from there. And I hope that this video helps you guys out. Please, subscribe. If you have any comments or anything or suggestions, just put them in the comments below, and like the video too. Have a good night, guys. Cheers.